Kia ora. The Honourable Te Ururoa Flavel.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker, kia ora tātou katoa. Ka mihi rā ki te āhuatango ngā kōrero ki ngā manuhiri kua tāmai tēnei pōhaere mai. Ka mutu ki a tātou e noho nei, e roto i tō tātou whare. Mr. Speaker, can I join with other speakers in acknowledging the member who's sponsoring this bill, Jonathan Young, and thank him for the opportunity to meet with Council and Mayor Judd, who came to my office last week to give us some overview about this particular bill, and members of the Council as well. I've got to say that I know this area well. I know many of the people involved, and I heard Carmel Cepoloni talking about the Kauhoi Wano, a good friend, so nice to know those connections, and of course your connection there too, Mr. Speaker, to Te Taiho Aori. What I said to the Council and to the Mayor was that in these sorts of cases, that where it is that iwi will give support to these sorts of bills, then we're prepared to give support as well. But this week has been a sort of a strange week. At the beginning of the week, we had a hikoi from Ngāti Ruanui coming down to tell us about no more mining on the west coast. We also had a hikoi in Waitara, I think today, at Owai Marae, where a number of the hapu members were a little bit unhappy with decisions made by their trust, and I'll come to them shortly. We've also had the debacle with respect to no Friday, no discussions on bills on Friday, and then of course today we have this bill, so Taranaki's in the limelight for this particular week. Be that as it may, I know many of the people involved and had to come to some sort of decision about how we're going to go with this particular bill. On one hand, that we have a trust, Te Ko Taitanga o Te Atiawa, that's a post-settlement governance entity, who a private trust that has the purpose of receiving treaty assets, settlement assets rather, and holding, managing and administering the trust fund for the benefit of its members. And that in August of 2014, the District Council and the Trust entered into an agreement to start having the discussion about the Waitara endowment lands. Since entering into the heads of agreement, both parties have been engaging, and I heard that story very much from the Mayor and the Council members and representatives, and also took the opportunity to ring those of Te Atiawa to try and see where things had landed. So on one hand, I know that there are people who disagree with this particular bill, absolutely, because they were marching in the streets of Waitara today. On the other hand, and I've got to say this is not about treaty settlements, this is about a specific issue with respect to the endowment lands, but in a sense they're actually almost tied together because they come about from Raupatu. So you can't get away from that. So on one hand, the bill, the group that's stuck with this particular situation, and there's all sorts of players in it, namely the leaseholders, the council, the government, Te Atiawa, those opposed, the hapu, the runanga, those who signed it about a fair few years ago, and those are now stuck with having to make decisions, is not a nice situation. But I have to say that under the situation, we have, as a Māori Party, have no choice but to support it to first reading, and I endorse the comments that have been made already by people like Carmel Cepoloni and Peter Praone. Why? To allow the iwi to come forward and have their say. After that, I've got to say, I rang Mayor Judd and I told him, and I don't know whether I've caught up with the member, Jonathan Young, but after that, all bets are off. I'm not too sure. We just got to see what's going to happen after that. I mean, it'll be disastrous if we can't advance it, but on the other hand, Te Atiawa, through the Trust, has also said that they had some concerns, and in fact they set some of those out to me. So while on one hand they do want to advance, and they say specifically that in terms of the discussion with Te Atiawa, it's been about the transfer of some land in Waitara to Te Atiawa, the right of leaseholders to freehold their property, lifting of restrictions on how to proceed from the endowment lands, and how they can be used, the establishment of a statutory board, etc., etc. There's other bits and pieces in the bill, and in the short time I have, I'm not going to go to them. They say that there actually are some key outstanding issues that they want to take up. For example, in the current bill, that is, the appointment of the chair of the joint board by the council. They suggest that actually they could leave it over for the board themselves, as opposed to the council making the appointment, leave it to the board. They don't want to necessarily do it themselves. They say that there's no ability for Te Atiawa to have a first right of refusal over residential and commercial properties the council may dispose of into the future. And of course, when you're talking land in Taranaki, these sorts of issues are serious stuff. The ability of the Taranaki Regional Council to apply their portion of the proceeds from the land outside of Waitara, that's a debatable issue that they don't feel very comfortable about. So there are other bits and pieces that will come up in the Select Committee, and I'm hoping, of course, as we refer it through to there, and I'm comfortable with Māori Affairs Select Committee, that we can actually tease some of those issues apart and get a better feel from the community, and in particular about Te Aotearoa. I don't envy the job, because it's a hard job, and in one way or another, not everybody's going to win, but the hope will be by putting it into a Select Committee process, allowing the process to go ahead, we'll hear the views of the community and the council, and then be able to make informed decisions from there. Ka nui te mihi, kia ora tātou.
Kia ora.